guys, welcome back to Shadows of Saintfour, and we're going to be doing episodes 3 and 4 today. So let's go ahead and get started. It says you and Luke are brought in for interrogation. Relationships are heating up at school. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and get started. See how else they can creep us out this episode. Last time was pretty creepy. I'm sure it only gets worse. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, we found the dead body. Chapter 3, Sam. The siren sounds of a police car echoed around the block. People looked out of their windows, gawking at your house with interest. You didn't do anything, but somehow you felt guilty. Derek's father, Mr. Nixon, looked serious and inhospitable, making you feel even more uneasy. Thank you for bringing my daughter, Mr. Nixon. It's my job. I advise you all to be careful. At least don't go walking around out of the woods at night. Yes, of course. Thanks again. Have a nice evening and good night. He was already for the car, but suddenly turned around briefly to add, Don't worry. Do not worry about your daughter's safety. I will look after her. Mom looked at him silently, then nodded slowly. Thank you. I think he's flirting with my mom. The heck? The car drove off and the flashes faded into the distance until they had disappeared completely, leaving behind the silence of the night street. Mom hugged you and you could feel her trembling. Mom? I'm fine. I just got scared for you. I'm sorry your date has such a gruesome end to it. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. Everything is okay. I'm sorry too. I don't remember any of these stories. What do I say? Sorry too. Do I try to be strong about it? Or I'm sorry too. I mean, everything is not okay. No, baby. It's okay. You will have plenty more opportunities, I'm sure. The main thing is that you're safe and sound. Let's go inside. You're soaking wet. Oh yeah, I forgot it was raining. Hold up. They started already. The room was dark, but you didn't want to turn on the light. You walked to the window and looked out the street as if searching for something. You couldn't get rid of the aching feeling in your chest after all that you'd seen in the forest. It must be just fear. You reached for the switch, hoping that the light would bring you peace. But an icy, wet hand touched your hand. What the? Help. Ooh. Outside the window, someone's bike bell was ringing as it drove by. It was light outside. Mom poked her head into the room and saw that you were not up yet. You'll be late. Get up. Get ready. The minutes went by, but you continued to lie in bed, waiting for your breathing to return to normal and your heart to stop popping out of your chest. The minute you closed your eyes, you again saw the lifeless body surrounded by flowers. In your memories, the body emanated a cold feeling which you could not hide. You wanted to forget this image, but the corpse pursued you even in your dreams. The horror made its way into your bones. You were trembling under several blankets. It was impossible to get warm. You looked at the dream catcher. If this thing's the cause of all these dreams, perhaps I should return it to Mrs. Hill? Still in bed? Get up, come on. There was no choice. You had to get ready for school. What should I wear today? Okay, that's cute. I love purple. Not quite my style. Okay. That's also cute. But I think if you wear one of the diamond choices, it gets you like image points. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with this one. I just like it the best anyway. I will be comfortable in shorts and my favorite blouse. It's exactly what I need. Mom was already waiting up for outside. You just had to grab your backpack and head downstairs. There was a police car parked out in front of your house. Good morning, Melody. Hello. You and Luke will have to come with me to make a statement. Luke was already sitting in the back of the car. Okay. What kind of statement? They don't know anything. The kids just bumped into a body in the forest. That's more than enough trauma for them for now, don't you think? It's up to us to find out whether they know something or not. Mom covered you with her hand as if she could shield you from the idea. Don't worry, Mrs. O'Neill. I'll get them to school safe and sound. Mom reluctantly stepped aside. Be careful, baby. You were on your way to the car, but your mother suddenly called out to the sheriff. Mr. Nixon, can I have a moment? Wait here. Luke got out of the car. He looked worried, nervous. He wouldn't take his eyes off the sheriff, as if he wanted to hear what he was talking about with your mother. What's wrong with you? Do you really have to ask? We found my friend dead in the forest. I didn't know that you were friends. We were friends. Well, thanks for the information now. Luke was silent for some time, but from his face it was clear that he was thinking about what had happened. There was something wrong with Sam's death. His eyes. Do you remember his eyes? I mean, I do remember. I cannot forget them. Who could have done this to him? Sheriff Nixon is being silent on the matter, but he obviously knows something. I couldn't sleep until morning. I was just rolling around thinking about Sam and how we found him. I remember the day he disappeared. I still feel guilty. Guilty? Let's not talk about it. No, trust me. Sam was not in the mood that day. He was threatened with expulsion and then had a fight with his stepfather, and he threw him out of the house. Sam always had problems with his nerves, but that day he was running hot. I'm so sick and tired of all this crap. They want to expel me now? He turned to the school as if he was addressing someone in person. Go ahead. Do it. Calm down, man. They're not going to kick you out. You're literally like half of the football team's success. But Sam wasn't listening. He was mostly talking to himself. And my stepfather throws me out? Guy drinks like there's no tomorrow, and I'm supposed to sit there and watch him fall apart? He's dragging my mom along with him. How can she not understand? He was silent for a while, consumed by his own thoughts. Then he turned red with rage, with anger. I'll teach him a lesson. Who? My bastard stepfather. Who else? What are you gonna do? You'll see. Sam's anger didn't fade away. It only seemed to amplify. I need to show this piece of shit what happens to those who don't let others live in peace. Look at that face. Dude. Sam took a stone, hurling it into the air, putting all his rage into the throw. Crash. The window shattered. I mean, doesn't he live there too? I know he just got kicked out, but his mom lives there too. Why is he busting up her house? Sam was a great quarterback. He reached for another one. Despite the fact that it was his own house, Sam threw stones with such a frenzy that it was clear he no longer intended to live there. I guess he was right about that. While you live with us, you damn ghoul, I will not set foot in that house. Do you hear me? Come on out. Let's have a talk. The second stone almost crashed into another window with a whistle. Bam. It left a sizable dent in the aluminum sliding. Why don't you come out, you coward? You can come out and slap me around one last time. Or are you afraid that I'll break your head open? Sam was from a poor family. Getting into college was the only way to get out of the city. The only way to become something other than a gas station cashier, really. I understood the reason for his despair turning into uncontrollable aggression. I understood why he was angry with the stepfather who was getting his mother drunk and beating him. Well, where are you, you bastard? His stepfather came out of the house. Oh, that looks creepy. What are you doing, you whelp? You need a beating to remind you where your place is? It's you who's gonna get one. Sam took another stone, and before his stepfather had time to take a step, he threw it at his head. And Sam rarely misses. Blood flowed down his face and chin. His stepfather touched his head, staggered a bit, but stayed on his feet. But now he came running to me. His whole body was shaking. Sam asked me to hide him at my house, but I refused. I could hear the sirens. The police were coming. My parents wouldn't hide him, and I didn't see any other way for him but to surrender. Sam rushed out into the forest, and I never saw him again. If I had just allowed him to hide at my place, he would not have gone out there. What happened to his stepfather? He got off lightly, compared to Sam. The sheriff finished talking with your mom. She waved her hand at you, watching with concern as you got into the police car. The sheriff had told her something before leaving. You didn't hear exactly what, but she seemed to calm down a bit and smiled. Then you got into the car and the sheriff pulled away. So a perfect Luke isn't so perfect. Oh, stop it. What? I never liked him. I don't think Derek likes anyone. He's always so angry. You were sitting in a semicircle during the story. Derek has smoked at least half a pack. Oh, that's disgusting. Come on. When did you start smoking? You guys were all gone already. You used to know everyone in Saintfour. After so many years, all the faces had changed. Only a few remained. Derek was among them. Why didn't you leave too? He grinned. I'm not in the habit of running away. Well, it depends. For example, I didn't run from anything, but rather to somewhere. I ran towards the prospects of a better life and found it. Bobby straightened his suit as if to draw attention to it. Do you know how much this one cost? Oh my god, Bobby is a show. He accidentally brushed against a candle with his elbow and it almost fell off the table. By the way, why are we sitting in the dark again? The power's out. Everything was working fine just recently. It must just be a fuse. Derek stood up, walked over to the shelf looking for something. He took down a flashlight. I'll go take a look. Derek went outside. Looks like this often happens here. Why would you say that? Well, the weather hasn't been too crazy. The lights will be on. Plus, he knew it was a fuse, probably just old wiring. A gust of wind slammed the door. Bobby flinched. I don't understand how he can come here by himself. The door opened again and slammed shut with a new force, though this time there was no sound of the wind. The floorboards creaked outside as if someone had run past. What's that? Maybe it's Derek? The door opened a bit. You went in closer to see, but it closed right in front of your nose. The hell? You carefully lowered the handle, looked outside, but there was no one there. Derek? His voice came from behind the house. Yeah? Is everything okay? Yeah, I'll just be a minute. Well, what is it? The lights turned on and then immediately went back out again. Apparently we have to do with candlelight. When everyone gathered back again, you continued the story. Mr. Nixon was silent, focused on the road. You saw his face reflected in the mirror. It was serious, almost evil, with the clear traces of a sleepless night. You had never been to an interrogation before, and although you were not to blame for Sam's death, your anxiety did not allow you to sit still. You wanted to break the silence or just jump out of the car in an attempt to escape the tension. Crack. Oh. Oh, okay. That was weird. Camera came turned off. Anyway, crack. The car shifted. There was a crunching sound of breaking bones. The hell? The sheriff stepped out of the car, slamming the door loudly. You and Luke jumped out after him. Mr. Nixon was squatting down by the front wheel, looking at something. Stupid animal. Rushed right under the car. He pulled a hair from under the wheel. The skull of the animal was crushed. Its gray hair was soaked with blood. And if not for the long ears, one could barely have said it was a hare in the first place. One of its eyes had burst, and black mucus smelling of swamp and decaying corpse flowed out of its eye socket. What was it doing on the road? Apparently something scared him out of the forest, maybe escaped from a wolf or fox only to run into a damn car. The sheriff threw the hare aside. Let's go. You turn and look at it. Its remaining bulging, almost bursting eye looked as if straight at you. You want to bury it? You and Luke recounted how you found Sam, trying not to omit any detail. So that's how it happened? Every bit of it. Is that all? Do you have anything else to add? The sheriff and Luke locked eyes. What's that about? Finally, Luke responded. That's all. The sheriff took something out of the desk. This we found in Sam's pocket. What is it? It's drugs. Mr. Nixon presented a small transparent bag with gray powder at the bottom. Did you know that Sam was taking them? No. This drug affects the mucous membranes of the eyes and the mouth. If used too often, it begins to eat right through them. What do you mean by that? Did Sam ever mention it or those who were taking it? No, never. Was it because of the drugs that his eyes were like that? I'm gonna need a list of those that Sam spoke to regularly. He talked to tons of people. I need a list of them all. But first, the names of those with whom Sam had any conflicts or disagreements. Mr. Nixon held out a piece of paper and pen. He paused for a while, watching as Luke wrote out the names. You noticed that Michael was listed third on the list. In any case, everyone at the school will have to pass a drug test. What? How is that even connected? It goes without saying that you are not to talk about this. The last thing I need right now is town-wide panic. The sheriff fell silent again, looking at you. Melody, could you leave me and Luke for a moment? You can wait for him at the reception desk. Okay, no problem. Okay. Well, I mean, I get, like, it seemed like they were really close, like maybe best friends. So I guess that's why he would want to talk to him the most. But I don't know. It kind of seems like they have past history. In the waiting room, you found some pamphlets promoting road safety, and you looked through a magazine someone had left behind. It was impossible to hear what the sheriff was talking about with Luke, but you saw the conversation was pretty intense. Two officers came into the waiting room. They passed you by, not paying any attention to you. And what does the sheriff think about all this? The kid was way too jacked up on drugs. Addict overdose, case closed. Yeah, but I mean, 10 years ago, the same thing happened. 10 years ago? Ooh, do I want to make note of this? I'm sitting here like trying to crack a mystery. 10 years ago, same drug problem, right? I want to see if I can figure it out before. Shh. Police officers glanced at you suspiciously. Glanced at me suspiciously? Why are y'all sitting here talking about a case like without paying attention to who's around you? That seems like a you problem. Intervene in the conversation. Pretend to read the magazine. I'm just gonna pretend to read the magazine. I don't know. As soon as they looked in your direction, you lowered your eyes, pretending to be fascinated by the magazine. The officers watched you for a while and then continued to speak in a whisper. You heard a couple of phrases. So what? Back then there was a whole series of murders, and we've only gotten one corpse now. So maybe this is just the first body we find? Don't give me this nonsense. And why are you guys hanging out around out here? The officer straightened up and hastily headed off to do some kind of work. That's it for now. You know, he reminds me of Hop from Stranger Things. That's what he looks like. And those two guys could be those, oh, yeah, those two dumb cops who's always around. If we have more questions for you, I would contact your parents. The sheriff wanted to leave quickly, but he stopped, remembering something. Wait, I promised your mom I'd take you guys to school. Come on then. Yeah, you better, because we're probably late by now. So you better be giving me an excuse letter too. The police car attracted the attention of the other kids. Apparently the police were a rare guest around here. You noticed Candy walking through the parking lot in the direction of the school. For some reason, you didn't want her to see you and Luke together again. Hastily saying goodbye, you jumped out of the car and ran to your friend. Have you heard the news? I had nightmares all night after that. Candy strangely recoiled from you and walked on. What's wrong with you? She abruptly stopped. You almost crashed into her and then she turned to you. You went on a date with Luke? Bitch, yeah, I told you about that shit yesterday. The hell's your problem? Mr. Nixon told Derek that you guys were together. But you said that it was fine, that you didn't mind. Yeah, I know. Then don't be giving me that nasty ass face. The fuck is wrong with you? But it's hard for me. I think I'm still... Okay, well you could have said that shit yesterday. Don't be turning around acting like a psycho now. I don't like this girl. Like you love him? Let's talk about it later. Miss Baker hates us to be late. Alright. Despite the fact that lessons had already begun, a lot of kids were crowded in the corridor. When you walked in, everyone seemed to stand still for a moment and then begin to whisper. As soon as you took a few steps forward, a guy approached you. You found Sam? He was murdered, right? What? Was there a lot of blood? Question about Sam overwhelmed you. Many already had heard that you and Luke went to make a statement with the police. Even the janitor listened into the conversation, looking at you suspiciously while pretending to clean the floor. Dude, this guy's face creeps me out. You wanted to pass by, but your path was blocked, and the questions about what had happened didn't let up. What's the sheriff say about it? Any suspects? Everyone looked at you, waiting for any answers you had. The janitor tore a leaflet from the stand talking about the disappearance of Sam, and stared you down again with interest. His gaze was heavy, observing, which only you seemed to notice. You felt uneasy. You thought about the parents whose hopes of finding their son were ruined that night. Michael approached you with some girl. The others parted before them as if there was some kind of royalty. Oh my god. But they seemed to do it unconsciously. I heard you found Sam. Yeah. What were you doing in the forest? Not the best place to walk alone at night. I really don't have to answer that question. Jesus. I wanted to relax. Well, next time, call me. The girl threw an appraising glance at you that predicted nothing good. By the way, you never said your name. This is Adele, my friend. Adele clung to his hand and hung on it as if trying to show they were not just friends. That's so pathetic. That's so pathetic. Oh my god. Nice to meet you. I can't say the same. Oh my god, the bitches in this game. This is why I don't... Girls are hard to deal with in high school. I just rather not. Just rather not. Goodness. Adele looked at you arrogantly and seemed to want to move on, but Michael was in no hurry to leave. He continued to stand there looking at you. Did you need something? Michael was silent, still looking at you, and then briefly but meaningfully said, Yes, I do. His answer made you feel feverish, and you looked away in embarrassment. We have to go. See you soon. Before leaving, Adele looked at you with ostentatious arrogance. Oh my god. That's so pathetic. Jesus. Don't be that girl. The bell rang, straining, as if warning that being late is indeed punishable. All the characters in this game were just so flawed. It's like trying to find the person you can deal with the most, because everybody just like grates on me. I just can't. That's why I still don't know who I want to pursue as a love interest, because the people in this game. Anyway, when you entered the room, Candy lowered her eyes, pretending to read her notes. Alright, it's gonna be like that. I mean, if she didn't want to talk, I don't really want to talk to her either. You silently sat down at your desk, opening your notebook and textbook in hopes that today Miss Baker would leave you alone. Candy flipped through the pages of the book, obviously bored. You wanted to apologize to her. At the same time, you didn't really understand why you should have to. Exactly. I didn't do anything wrong. She said she was cool. If she had a problem with it, she should have said so yesterday before I went on a date with him. You know? You and Luke just went on a picnic, or was it something more? The teacher's raspy voice interfered with your thoughts. Melody and Candy, I really can't abide the way you acted last period. I hope everything will be quite different today. Miss Baker stood at her desk, nervously biting her lips, and her eyes did not linger on any one person, but danced from one student to another, giving the impression that she herself didn't understand what she was talking about. Melody received a kind of punishment last time. Today I want to hear from you first, Candy. Candy stiffened, but didn't even try to take a peep at the textbook. Miss Baker wrote on the board a task for Candy to solve. For 10 minutes, Candy tried to cope with the task, but Miss Baker wiped everything irritably and told her to start over. It's all wrong. Who exactly are you learning from, Candy? You knew the topic of the problem and could have answered it yourself, but was it worth the risk? No, she's a bitch. You know what? Let's just say she's having an emotional morning. Fine, we'll be nice. And I'll go and help her out. Miss Baker, can I answer it? You? She looked at you in disbelief, paused, and finally nodded. Okay, let's see if you have become smarter over the last day. The class laughed, but you didn't much care. Thank you. Candy sat down and you stood at the blackboard again. It was the same as yesterday, only this time you knew the answer. After a few minutes, the problem was solved. Miss Baker rechecked it several times, obviously hoping to find some kind of mistake. Her face twisted again, her lips quivered, and her nostrils widened as she sighed nervously. Almost through her teeth, she finally said, Not bad. You may sit down. I hope you understand that today I'll be seeing you after school. What? Does that surprise you? The fact that Melody stood up for you doesn't change anything. Now I will take care of you thoroughly. Miss Baker's interest in you and Candy immediately disappeared, and she carried on with the lecture. By the end of the lesson, Candy was slower than usual, collecting her books and supplies. You saw that she wanted to say something, but she didn't dare. I wanted to say thank you for standing up for me. I was very close to bursting into tears. You have nothing to thank me for. Oh, yeah, you do. No. Not gonna be. She's still in trouble, so not really. Candy stood still for a couple of seconds, as if she wanted to add something, but in the end she just smiled and left. In the hallway, you ran into Derek. Where are you going? To class? We have biology now? That's right. Oh yeah, you haven't been here in the mornings yet. Today we have a lesson off school grounds. We'll be studying the flowers of Saintfour. Derek spoke without much enthusiasm. Everyone is already outside. We better go. Okay. The school bus's engine was running and the doors were open, waiting for everyone to take their seats. There are a lot of people, much bigger than our class. Yeah, we go with the graduates. Where? To the forest, I think. Shouldn't that be canceled? They just found a body of one of the high school students in the forest, but we're making a trip to the forest. Okay. Smart. Oh, you stumbled over something. What's this? In the dark, you didn't immediately see that it was a man. Your first impulse was to skip biology today, but Derek was already pushing you onto the bus, cutting off all escape routes. The teacher, straightening an ever-falling strand of hair, spoke about all the different types of flowers. The kids all trudged behind without even looking around. From time to time, the teacher raised her voice to a trembling squeak in an attempt to silence the children from talking amongst themselves. You, Derek, and Candy walked almost at the very back of the pack. Does anyone even listen to the teachers here? Or this one guy that's always listening? Derek pointed to a guy with his glasses trying to squeeze his way forward. The guy was pushed away, and then he stood on his haunches and jumped up to see at least something ahead. We haven't introduced you to. Bobby. Bobby, come here, man. This is young Bobby. Oh, leave me alone. Come here, I want to introduce you to someone. Bobby reluctantly approached you. Well, this is Melody. She's new. Bobby shook your hand excessively in the air, It was careless, as if he was doing you a favor. He's always such a little prick. My God. Yes, yes, very nice to meet you. Don't pay it any attention. Bobby's always like that with strangers. That's okay. Nice to meet you too, Bobby. I haven't seen you in class before. I've been sick. I decided that a walk outside couldn't hurt. The teacher went further, dragging the others along. Oh, look, it's Highland Hudsonia. It's considered endangered in North America. There was such a delight on Bobby's face that you two couldn't help but smile. Oh no, never mind. These are all common yellow flowers. Candy and Derek were talking about something, and Bobby, having decided that you were interested, pulled you along with him, telling you about each plant that you met along the path. You wanted to change the topic. Tell me about yourself. How long have you been fond of flowers? I don't know. Well, I mean, how long have you been fond of flowers has not really changed in the topic. I guess I can ask him about himself. Only fools talk about themselves, those who can fit their whole personality into a few simple sentences. Well, how else are we supposed to learn about each other? Bobby stumbled. Are you so sure that you will fit into our company and I will have to be friends with you? Bobby paused for a while. I just don't like talking about myself. Why? Is that so interesting to anyone? Bobby stopped abruptly, looking at you suspiciously, even with hostility. Are you sneaking up on me because of my brother? What? No, of course not. What does your brother have to do with it? Do you think you're the first to try to get to him through me? What the fuck are you even talking about? Of course, these flowers have nothing on you, but they are the best in this rotten place. Michael sneaked up to you somewhere from behind and handed you a hand-picked bouquet. They're beautiful. Ooh, lilies. I like purple, but the lilies are prettier. I love lilies. Thank you. I'm glad you like them. Well, I told you. Wait, you guys are brothers? Michael hugged Bobby by the neck, pulling him towards him. Yep. Don't we look alike? Get your hands off me. Bobby tried to break free, but Michael held him tight. After several intensified attempts, Bobby managed to free his head from his brother's grip. Get off. He adjusted his clothes and, throwing a hostile look at Michael, moved away, back closer to the teacher. Bobby doesn't like me very much, but never mind that. Michael watched his brother disappear into the crowd of students. Why's that? He smiled oddly, looked at you, and the fleeting, slightly noticeable seriousness that glimpsed for a moment on his face immediately disappeared without a trace. He thinks everyone favors me, including our parents. He scanned the crowd in front of him, looking for his brother. He considers me an upstart. Michael smiled and smoked dismissively, as if he was not concerned, but you realized that he was worried about it. A conversation started, and you didn't notice how you had fallen behind the group. These brothers are both pretty interesting characters, because Bobby has like an immediate like defense mechanism. Like he's like nasty and like talk about himself as if he's so important, like because he wants to feel important, because he always feels like his brother is more the focus of everything. And it's interesting, you usually will find that boys like Michael will try to pretend like they're not even related to Bobby, but it doesn't seem like that's the case at all. He's like really worried about his brother. And it seems the other way around. Bobby doesn't really want to be associated with Michael. It's interesting. You wander into some kind of clearing. At first you couldn't understand what was bugging you, but soon you recognized it was the place that that lake had taken you. Emotions immediately washed over you. You felt both the pleasant excitement of your date and the horror of the night when you were face to face with death. The music is a little loud. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Michael lay down on the grass, arms stretched wide. Oops, I must have missed what the other thing said. Everyone complains about the weather in Saintfour, but do you know what I like about it? What? The clouds. Clouds? Yes, the Saintfour sky is always covered with clouds, and you can just lie like this for hours watching them float. Lie down here. See for yourself. I see it like that too. No, you have to lie down and understand what I mean. Michael jumped up, grabbed your arm, and pulled you down. You fell on him. You wanted to move away, but he only leaned closer to you. His proximity made you feel hot. As if reading your thoughts, Michael smiled, opened his arms, and let you lie down beside him. And now look. He pointed to the sky. The clouds sailed slowly, making no impressive shapes. They simply moved along, drifting idly in the wind. As you lay there, it seemed that the earth was moving too, only in the opposite direction. Your head started to spin, and you laughed. Got it now? You looked at each other. Yes, I understand. Michael's eyes changed. He became very serious. Before you knew what was happening, he had pulled you back towards him, passionately kissing you. You tried to escape, but he pressed your hands to the ground. Okay, the first time I read this, I don't like the idea of being forced into romantic situations. But I'm wondering, like, when she said she tried to escape, was it just of like, oh my god, stop? Or was it like, seriously, get the fuck off me? You know? Is that her deal? And I can't read from her what what the situation is. Michael rubs me the wrong way. I'm still not impressed with him. I'm gonna push him away for now. He's a little too cocky for my taste. I can't get that comment out of my head from the first time when he was like, remember my name, you're gonna be saying it often or something like that. That just grates me the wrong way. I can't. You shook your head, avoiding his kisses. Don't shy away. Stop it. He pulled away, looking at you and laughing. What's so funny? Are you afraid of me? No. For a few more long seconds, he looked at you, trying to understand the reason for your rejection. Finally, he nodded and let go of your wrist. The clouds were still drifting along up there, minding their own business. Your head was not spinning anymore. Michael continued to focus on the sky. What are you doing here? Jesus, that face! Ah, Adele. There was enough room for everyone. You can join us. Wow. See this guy? I just can't. Michael looked relaxed, even bored. He did not seem to care about Adele. You jumped up and shook off the grass, trying not to look up. We were just looking at the clouds. Don't make excuses. Michael slowly got up as well, but we were just looking at the clouds. You think you're the only one he watches the clouds with? I don't care who he watches the clouds with. I really don't. Shut up. Michael didn't pay any attention. Adele didn't pay any attention to Michael, looking only at you. You were silent so as not to escalate the situation. Don't blame other girls for the situation. As if boys don't have anything to do with it. Don't be this girl. She's the total example of what not to be. Ever. This is pathetic. I almost feel sorry for her. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm mostly annoyed, though. You were silent as so as not to escalate the situation, but it seemed that it only angered her further. Why are you silent? Or is it normal for you to lie with other girls' guys? I'm not your boyfriend anymore, Adele. We'll see. Adele grabbed you by the hair. I don't feel sorry for her. I just want to punch her in the face right now. You tried to shake off her hand, but she only clung more tightly. Stop it. Michael pushed Adele away, and she had to let you go. What are you even doing here, Adele? Everyone was on edge. Adele looked as she was about to pounce on you. But then a scream was heard. The hell? It's coming from there. Adele pointed towards the swamp. Michael immediately rushed towards the sound. You and Adele exchanged glances and ran after him. Oh. Help! Candy was in the quagmire. She tried to grab at the branches of the trees, but she couldn't reach them, sinking deeper and deeper. Don't move. Michael grabbed a tree trunk with one hand and held out the other one towards Candy. Grab my hand. I can't reach. Using the last of her strength, Candy jerked forward, closer to the shore. Mike stooped lower. Just a little more. One last push, and Michael grabbed Candy by the hand, then a second one, and pulled her out onto dry land. Candy fell to the ground in exhaustion, breathing heavily. She was squeezing in a strange hold some violet flowers. They were the same as the ones you saw beside Sam when you and Luke found him. Candy barely made it out alive, and yet she did not let go of the bouquet. A familiar smell hit your nose. The flowers smelled pleasant, but now they were associated only with death. You tried to get rid of the obsession, tried not to look at the flowers, and focus on your friend. Look at the flowers, Lizzie. I'm sorry, that's in poor taste. I'm sorry. Candy was trembling from fear and shock. Candy, are you alright? You wanted to calm her down, but she pushed you away. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have fallen into the stupid swamp. What are you talking about? You called me here. I didn't call you anywhere. How so? Do you think I'm an idiot? Yeah, I do. She's been with us here for quite a while, Candy. Melody did not call up for anyone. Candy turned to look from Michael, then Adele, looking for reassurance in their faces. But I heard... Candy trembled and wrapped her arms around herself. You need to go home. Let's go. You helped Candy up. I'm getting about sick and tired of her blaming me for everything. I understand it's a traumatic situation, and given the mystical things going around already, I can definitely say she probably heard my voice, but it most certainly was not me. You returned your friend to her home late in the evening. At home, she kept repeating that it was you who called her towards the swamp. She's in shock, no wonder. On your way home, you kept thinking about everything that had happened since the day you arrived in Saintfour. This town is small, but there's more going on here than in all of Baltimore. It looks like I'm getting used to it. You are? The hell? Because I'm not. You stopped in front of your house, but for no apparent reason you felt uneasy inside. You listened. Bam, bam. Something broke. There were screams. Mom? Okay. I got 2 image points. I got 2? I helped Candy. That was 1. I don't remember the other one. 5 caution points and 1 courage point. When did I get the courage point? Uh-oh. When did I get courage? I don't know. I'm not taking it back, though. It's done. It's only 1. It's fine. Okay, let's do part 4. Danger await at every corner in Saintfour. Chapter 4, The Chase. Mom? Crash. Shards scattered throughout the living room. Scoundrel! Liar! Cheater! Mom grabbed the dishes, silverware, anything within arm's reach, and threw them at your dad. He tried to dodge the best he could. Stop it! What's going on here? Mom abruptly turned around, nervously straightening her hair. Here's what. She handed you a letter. A subpoena? You know what? I don't even remember what this dude looked like. I'll explain everything. He was being accused of complicity in money laundering. Mom collapsed on the sofa and burst into tears. Dad sat on his knees before her, trying to look her in the eyes. I remember she said, your dad won't get into any trouble here. But she turned away, angrily shrugged her shoulders. Dad, is this true? Everyone makes mistakes, but your mistakes will cost our family everything. Can you go to jail for that? They'll lock him up forever. Stop talking nonsense. I did it for your sake, and now you accost me with this? You should be thanking me, you ungrateful. Excuse me? Dad came up to you, kissed your forehead, hugging you. He wanted to show fatherly affection, but it honestly seemed ostentatious. You barely restrained yourself from pushing him away. We'll manage somehow. Somehow? We just got out of Baltimore and moved into this hole. Your mom was trembling from the emotion. She looked pale and emaciated, and seeing her like this, your anger for your father only multiplied. Let me just try to calm my mom. Mom barely managed to get to her feet, and you helped her get over to and sit in a chair. Don't worry, Mom. I'm sure everything will be fine. But she seemed to not have heard you. She just shook her head, casting hateful glances at Dad. He's always getting us into some kind of problem situation. Don't be mad at Dad. He didn't do it on purpose. You spoke these words, but inside you felt deep resentment and a sense of injustice. I have no anger left. Nothing left but sheer disappointment. Dad flinched at these words, straightening up as if gaining courage, and approached your mother again. Oh, please. Leave the self-righteous speeches for someone else. Let's not turn this into a circus. Mom snorted, defiantly turning away. Silence fell in the living room. Everyone was thinking through their own place in the matter and what would happen next. For some reason, you got the feeling that it had reached a point of no return. Everything will be different from now on. A wall has suddenly risen between your parents, but will they be able to tear it down as quickly as they built it? Melody, could you leave your father and me alone for a minute? Sure, Mom. Pieces of broken dishes crunched under your feet as you walked awkwardly through the living room. As you stepped into the next room, your mother began to talk restlessly and angrily about something. Your dad answered her with the same intonation, bordering on hatred. You refused to believe that they could throw him in prison, but not because he didn't deserve it. Mostly because long prison sentences seem like a weird graveyard that your relatives don't belong in. Yeah. He's such a piece of crap. You went to your room, still listening to the conversation in the living room, but a small movement at the window distracted you from your family quarrels. A shadow spun around, pacing back and forth as if waiting to be allowed in. You came closer, right up to the window, trying to see what was out there. Round, frightened eyes stared at you. The pupils almost completely absorbed the iris, leaving only a thin yellow rim of color. A cat? Your heart skipped a beat. Oh, it's a kitty. What are you doing here? It was probably cold outside, and you hurriedly opened the window, letting the animal in. You walked across the room, turning on the light, and returned to the cat. She spun again, chasing her tail. Like a little dog. She had smooth black fur, almost iridescent. At a certain angle, it looked almost brown. You wanted to pet her, but she hissed and raised her paws in warning. Okay. Alright, okay. I'm not going to touch you. Wait a minute. I've seen you before. You're Mrs. Hill's cat. You couldn't exactly remember when you saw any other animals in the antique shop other than the dog. Nevertheless, you were confident that the cat belonged to Mrs. Hill. Yes, you. The cat spun again, this time stomping in place with its paws and preparing to go to sleep, and then lay down and curled up in a circle. You're just gonna take a nap. Well, you can spend the night here, but tomorrow I'll take you back to Mrs. Hill. You took a shower and set your alarm. Your little guest was already snuffling at the head of the bed. And although the cat clearly didn't have any real sympathy for you, feeling its warmth made it easier to fall asleep. Your parents began to quarrel again in the morning. Mom's face was pale and haggard, her eyes swollen from tears and sleeplessness. In order not to disturb her further, you decided to walk to school. At first, you walked at a leisurely pace, enjoying the fresh air, which happens only in the morning. You thought, the obvious choice right now seems to be Luke. My judgment is a little bit clouded by an event I know that's coming up. I don't know who I want to go for here. Maybe I should just take the easy route and just think about my parents. Because I haven't decided yet. Although I can confess, this time around I'm a little bit more curious about Michael than I was before. I wasn't quite ready to kiss him or anything like that because he's still a little too arrogant for my taste. So I'm gonna think about my parents. What will happen to us if Dad is sent to prison? He'll probably need a lawyer, but we don't have the money for it. No way in hell. A thought popped into your head and it doused you with cold water. To avoid prison, Dad's gonna spend all his savings, and we'll be stuck here in Saintfour forever. And you immediately felt guilty. Bah. I only think about myself, but what about my dad? Your attention was scattered. Your legs walked automatically, and your eyes didn't notice the road or the houses, only the rushing thoughts in your head. But suddenly you started and froze, peering intensely into the distance. The end of the street was covered in an impenetrable fog, and there was something seriously abnormal and unnatural about it. It was curling, moving, getting thicker. The mist swallowed the houses and cars as if they were falling into an abyss, dissolved into white darkness. Unconsciously, you took a few steps back, feeling that you shouldn't enter it. Silhouettes appeared in the fog, clearly and more tangible than the approaching veil of gray. What the? Something moved forward, and then a wolf's face, twisted in a grin, came out of the fog. No. Oh my god. I hate this thing. Yellow teeth were colored pink from blood. Scarlet drops stood out brightly against the gray haze around. Blood ran down the gums of the animal, and it dripped into the ground. The wolf took a couple of steps towards you. His eyes were black, just like Sam's, with no pupils, and yet you knew that he was looking at you. Furry tufts hung all over its body. Pieces of naked, bleeding flesh were visible here and there. The wolf smelled of rot and decaying flesh. You felt nauseous. You backed away from it, trying not to scream. At the sound of the loud, wheezing motor, you turned around sharply, for a second even forgetting about the wolf next to you. The bright headlights blinded you, and you jumped to the side, and the car, screeching wheels, rushed forward. It flashed a millimeter away from you and drove right through the wolf as if it were part of the fog. The air filled with the smell of burnt rubber. The noise of the car engine faded, and the wolf was nowhere to be seen, but the feeling of something terrible approaching intensified. The fog was blinding. It was everywhere, dense, snow-white, and dangerous. Who are you? The car began to approach again, gaining speed. Cutting through the fog, it flashed its headlights, yellow at first, and then they seemed to turn to a bloody color. The huge front bumper resembled the mouth of a beast ready to tear you apart. You rushed along the road, not yet realizing that the car was chasing you. The pickup was a mere 30 yards away and continued to accelerate. You had to constantly dodge in order not to fall under the wheels. You heard them spinning, getting closer and closer. The pickup scraped against someone's fence and it fell to the ground. The truck was old and rusty. Every time the driver switched gears, it made sounds similar to the screech of a dying animal. The sound filled the silence and echoed around the neighborhood. The driver floored the gas pedal. Is this guy actually chasing me? You ran down the street, gasping either hysterically or from lack of oxygen. It became unbearably hot, and it seemed that with a few more seconds of this chase, you'd lose consciousness. You barely managed to turn the corner when the car sped past, leaving a cloud of dust behind it and knocking over a garbage can. As it turned back, the rear gate of the pickup swung open and a deer carcass fell out onto the street. The neck of the animal was broken. A long tongue fell out and a few fat worms flopped out onto the pavement, then slowly crawling back into the deer's throat. The smell of organic rot filled the air again. The deer's stagnant blood soaked the road. What an abomination! You realized that someone in this pickup intentionally wanted to kill you. That you could be one of these carcasses. The pickup drove past you and then immediately turned back. You ran around the corner into the courtyards, hoping to break away. What the hell is going on? Your heart pounded in your throat. You stumbled at every step, coming to an intersection, hoping to see someone who could help, who would save you. Like, why are these neighborhoods always empty? But all you saw was the fence that separated the street from the forest. No one was around, and your echoing heartbeat was living proof that this was not a dream. The car came to a stop behind you and just idled there as if expecting further action. You clung to the fence without taking your eyes off the car, whose growling grew stronger as if preparing to run you over. If you wanted to crush me, he would have done it already, right? The car twitched, and for a second you thought it was over. There was no other way out. You jumped, trying to cling to the top of the fence, but failed. You jumped again. Bam. The door slammed behind you as the driver got out of the car. Without looking back, you kept on trying. For the third time, you clung, pulled yourself up, putting all of your strength into it. When you had almost managed to get over, he grabbed you by the leg and dragged you down. No! You smashed your pursuer on the head with both fists. He loosened his hold, and you were able to shake your foot free. With one more desperate leap, you were able to pull yourself up and climb over the fence, falling to the ground on the other side. Ouch. You ran without stopping until you reached the school. Candy and Derek stood at the entrance, chatting casually about something. You ran up to them, grabbing Derek by the hand and hanging on it, losing the rest of your strength. Interesting. What's wrong with you? A car was chasing me. Just breathe. They were chasing me. Who, the dogs? A car wanted, well, I don't know what they wanted. To kill me, I guess? He chased me all over the neighborhood. Who? Derek's face became serious, insightful. He looked you over carefully, looking for something in the expression of your face. I don't know. I couldn't see who was driving. Derek gently helped you sit down on a bench. Now, tell me what happened. It all started... Okay, with this you have to realize how cynical Derek is. So you can't tell him about anything like that doesn't really have a logical base to it. So I'm not going to talk about the fog. He takes you more seriously that way. Because he doesn't go, well, I mean, he's just the extreme version of most people, you know, because it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. But for him, it's like, if it doesn't make sense, it's really irrelevant information. So, say nothing about the fog. You understood how absurd the story about the fog and the wolf would sound. Surely the guys would decide that you've lost your mind. So you skipped that part and went straight to the chase with the car. You described your emotions, how you barely escaped death. Derek and Candy listened intensely, paying attention to every single word. Do you remember the car? More or less. You're lucky you got out in one piece. Yes. You look terrible. You looked at yourself and only now you realized that your clothes were torn and your hands were all scratched up. Come on, let's get you cleaned up. You went into an empty classroom. Candy took out her makeup bag and helped wipe the dirt and grime off your face. If you'd like, I can put some makeup on for you. Yes, please. What makeup would you like? Evening makeup. Ugh. Natural makeup. It's a bit much, no? I mean, it's the 80s. It matches my jacket. I apparently chose this before. I definitely don't want that. I think natural is more my style though. But this might be image points. It's a bit much makeup for my taste, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not that great with makeup, obviously. Anyway, your eyes are just made for little arrows. Watch out, guys. Don't make me blush. Now we need to get you into new clothes. I always keep a change of clothes in my school locker. Who knows when one may need help meet them. Shorts and top. Okay. Okay, that's cute. I like that. Not my taste. Okay. Let's just go with the order you chose before. Okay. We're rocking it. What do you think about this? Or is it too chic for school? Nothing is too chic. And you look really great. You've got great taste. Image. I don't know if that was for the makeup or the outfit. I want to say for the outfit. Right? Somebody should have went with the natural makeup. Anyway, it's fine. That's probably the nicest thing that she's done so far. Maybe she's trying to be a better friend. Anyway, the day's classes began. You notice that many were again whispering and looking at you. This is either Candy or do they know about the chase? No, there's no way. They would be questioning me about it already if they knew. At lunch period, you, Candy, and Derek went out into the hall, but even there the whispers did not stop. You froze near one of the classrooms when you heard Steve's voice. Are you sure? Of course, Michael told me all about it himself. Come on, are you that close with him? For sure. We're like best friends. Why are they asking if he's for sure that they're best friends? Like, if they were really best friends, wouldn't they know that? Like, why would they question him? Wouldn't he be around him all the time? That's kind of sketch. What exactly did he tell you? That's exactly what I told you. They did it right there in the meadow. He said Melody pounced on him like a cat. This is Adele. Ah. You pulled away from the door, covering your face with your hands. Path of high reputation. I sincerely doubt Michael said any such thing to you. Everyone knows that you're a gossip and make stuff up. Hey. Maybe Michael just wanted everyone to know. Derek shook you, grabbed your arm, and pulled you away from the classroom. Don't listen to this crap. This type of thing is expected from Michael and Steve. Yeah, we know that none of this is true. If you had a low reputation, people would kind of believe it a little bit. But thankfully I don't. He's lying. That is crystal clear. It was really not worth to get involved with Michael. Those two guys bring nothing but trouble. I had nothing going on with him. As you can see, it doesn't take much for a rumor to start. Michael's grinning face appeared in front of you, and your rage took over. The dining room was noisy. Many students came here not so much to eat, but to gossip. The voices, male and female, were heard from everywhere, at times lulling a bit quieter, then resounding with new force. Oh wait, this looks yummy. Michael sat down, surrounded by the attention of the others at the table. He was talking about something, and everyone was laughing. The fact that he was pleased with all of this angered you even more. Michael knows that you are approaching. Your determined gait, your pursed lips, and probably your intensely angry face made him tense up. Melody? Can I talk to you for a sec? He immediately got up and followed you. You moved off to the side of the room so that no one could hear you. What's the matter? You don't know? No? You started a rumor about us. What did I do? Don't talk about me anymore. Michael took a step towards you, but you recoiled. That's all I wanted to say. You were about to leave, but he grabbed your hand. Let me go. Not a chance. This is so bad. I think this is an image point, if I remember correctly. Don't go around slapping people. That's not okay. It's not okay. The slap silenced everyone in the cafeteria for a second. I feel bad. It's kind of funny. It's not. No violence, okay? Then the deathly silence gave way to even more noise. It was clear all eyes that had been on you and Michael. Someone whistled and someone else urged you to slap him again. Michael paused. A barely perceptible imprint of your palm was left on his cheek. You thought he would get angry, but the next moment he smiled. He burst out laughing. I like it when you have that attitude. To hell with you. While leaving the cafeteria, approving exclamations followed behind you. Oh my god. Rushing into the hallway, you wanted to get as far away as possible from the school drama. You were disgusted and appalled, but you couldn't understand whether you were angrier with yourself or with Michael. Where are you running to like that? Hello. I didn't notice you there. You look like you're about to cry. Is it because of the rumor? Do you believe them? The question came out more forcefully than you intended. No, of course not. Guys like Michael need to maintain their popularity. Apparently there are no other ways left for him, and he decided to puff himself up at your expense. Michael's a jackass. Come on, let's go get some air. Okay. I really don't think Michael did anything. You expected to head outside, but Luke led you in the opposite direction. Where are we going? You'll see. My secret place. Oh, the rooftop. You climbed up an access ladder onto the roof of the school. A cold wind hit you in the face and whistled in your ears. The fresh air and the mild coldness calmed your nerves. You silently walked across the roof, looking down at the schoolyard with its tables, at the forest, and at the distant horizon. Do you like it? Yeah. Luke smiled, and you realized that he was trying to impress you. It's very nice up here. Yes, it is. I always come up here during lunch. It's a pity that it's getting cold. Do you always seek out private places? I don't really do crowds. Are you hungry, by the way? I didn't pack a lunch. That's okay. I got you. Luke took out several containers with food. He always has a picnic on standby. Our family loves to cook. Well, that explains that. Take your pick. Got arugula salad. Looks yummy. Meat sandwiches. I probably would eat this because that looks really yummy. I love salads with lots of greens, especially arugula. Do I like arugula that much? So I don't know. A healthy diet is good. Luke gave you the food container. Thank you. The music got loud. It's so loud for me. I don't know if it's loud. It might be lower for you guys. I'm just turning it down just a little bit more, but I don't want to turn it down too much because I still want to make sure that you guys can hear it. Oh shoot. Wait, it's cold out here. Better sit on my briefcase. Thank you. There were not many people in the schoolyard. Apparently the students got scared off by the cool wind, and they decided to stay inside. You ate silently, watching what was happening below, and then Luke broke the silence. For the first time in my life, I want to get close to someone in Saintfour. Not just like making small talk, but to really communicate, to share all my secrets and really listen. He looked at you for a long time. He had such a thoughtful expression on his face that you remained silent, fearful of interrupting the flow of his thoughts. But I'm afraid of it. Why? I'm afraid of becoming attached, of putting down roots. But despite this fear, I would like us to get closer. Afraid of getting attached and putting down roots. I feel like you also might want this. Luke jumped down off the parapet and stood in front of you, holding your hands. Since we first ran into each other in the forest, I just couldn't forget your face. And today, when I saw you upset, I understood. He fell silent. You looked at each other without saying a word. Luke's hands wrapped around your waist, slightly pulling you towards him. His breath burned on your neck. Do I want this? Luke froze, watching your reaction. So far, I'm into it. I like you too. Luke's eyes widened with surprise and joy. He pulled you towards himself and stroked your cheek. You have no idea how glad I am to hear that. His lips touched your hair. God. What the heck? Let's just see. You moved closer to Luke, and his hands tightened around your waist, pulling you closer into him. Another moment, and your lips merged into a kiss. At first slowly, then more and more passionately, Luke kissed you if he had longed for it. He's so gentle, so caring. I always feel calm around him. I don't worry about anything. You forgot to breathe, and your consciousness got clouded. You barely found the strength to withdraw. For a while, you stood in an embrace, not daring to disturb the silence. After a minute, Luke gently gently, reluctantly opened his arms. I don't want to let you go anywhere. Then don't. But it seems that lunch period is over. We gotta go. We still have some time. You and Luke hugged and none dared to let go, but the bell rang eventually and you had no choice. That's loud. Thank you for sharing your lunch. Anytime. Luke suddenly tensed up. All of his attention was focused on something behind you. What's up? You see that guy? Behind you stood a man with a box talking to Candy. He wanted to catch her attention, but she turned away, avoiding him altogether. That is Sam's stepfather. Candy wanted to leave, but he grabbed her hand. A lustful smile froze on his face that made you shudder in disgust. Luke wouldn't stand for it, approaching them and pulling at Candy's hand. What do you want from her, old man? Don't talk to me like that, kid. She knows why I'm here, alright? He looked meaningfully at Candy. She turned away and shrugged her shoulders, showing absolute disgust with her entire appearance. Is everything alright? Mr. Nixon arrived at school. He walked past you, nodding his head as a sign of greeting. I wonder what he's doing here. Luke glanced at the box in the hands of Sam's stepfather. That's all Sam's stuff from his locker. Where are you taking it? Do I report to you now? Why didn't his mother take it? She's not feeling well. You do something to her too? Sam's stepfather, startled, looked at Luke and then sharply pressed him against the wall. I'll not hear your nonsense, boy. Let him go. Threaten? I mean, trying to jump in there is not... I'd advise you not to cause a scene here. Or should we call the sheriff over? He's right there. He didn't see this? It said he slammed him against the locker. I'm not holding him, right? He let go of Luke, straightening his clothes as if nothing had happened, and patted his shoulder. Take your mitts off me. Feeling that Luke was on the verge, Sam's stepfather laughed and raised his hands up in the air as if giving up. Okay, okay. Better that you return to class than be out here pestering people. Yeah, maybe we'll get a chance to discuss this again. Sam's stepfather grinned and headed towards the exit. When he'd gone, Luke immediately relaxed and then turned to Candy. You okay? I'm fine. Thanks for coming, though. I didn't know how to get rid of him. A familiar sound made you freeze, your heart pounded in your chest. That's it. What's wrong with you? Without answering, you ran out into the street. Candy and Luke followed behind you. Sam's stepfather had started his rusty car, throwing the box with Sam's things onto the seat next to him like it was rubbish. Did you see a ghost? Worse. I think it was Sam's stepfather who chased me this morning. What makes you say that? Candy followed your gaze and gasped, guessing at the answer. Wait, was his car that chased you earlier? Yes, I think it was. You watched as Sam's stepfather drove out into the road and you didn't leave until the car had disappeared around the corner. You started to shake. We have to tell Mr. Nixon before he leaves. You have proof. She unfolded your hands, revealing your scratches. What happened? I'll tell you later, okay? You went back inside. There was a notebook lying on the spot where you had met Sam's stepfather. You noticed it from afar and went to pick it up. What's this? Apparently it fell out of the box with all of Sam's things. You flipped through it. There were drawings on every page. I didn't know Sam knew how to draw. Sam drew long, skinny, weird people, obviously not respecting the proportions of the human body. It seems he was a bit out of his element painting these guys. Maybe he was dealing with rage like this through his art? There's also the throwing stones at his own house. In any case, what you saw drummed up anxiety within you. These were the drawings of an unhealthy mind. Why are you here? The teacher stood behind you, and you startled in surprise at her approach. The class has begun, by the way. Or do you have more important things on your schedule? Her eyes glanced at the pictures in your hands. She grabbed the notebook and flipped through it, carefully examining each page. What hideous drawings. Miss Baker tore the notebook in half. Then again. And again until there was only shreds left in her hand. Um, even if a student is not in class or whatever, I don't think you have the right, even as a teacher, to destroy somebody's property like that. What the hell are you doing? Those are Sam's drawings. Yes, I knew that. Didn't I tell you to return to class? Luke and Candy followed instructions, but you couldn't return to your studies in your current state. The sound of the car engine that almost killed you this morning was still roaring in your ears. You walked around the school in search of Mr. Nixon, and finally you heard him in one of the distant rooms. Stop making excuses. It's starting to piss me off. The voice you heard the very next second made you freeze and hold your breath. Who told you that Sam and I were fighting? I'm not an idiot, kid. We're not leaving here until you tell me. Oh. Alright, well fine then. Yes, we fought with him, especially on the football field. But Sam couldn't control his aggression. He was crazy. I wanted him kicked from the football team. He got us benched, ruined our reputation. I thought this was not very professional, so let him go. Anyway, he honestly went super crazy. What makes you think that? He imagined stuff. For example? What are you doing here? What? This wing is restricted. There are no classes up here. There's a restricted wing at school? I know, I need to talk to the sheriff. The janitor looked at you incredulously. And why would you need to do that? I have something to tell him. What? Why are you asking? And it's really not good to eavesdrop on other people's conversations. I'll take you back to the hallway. No, I think I'll stay. How come? He grabbed your arm. Also not okay. I don't know what's up with the faculty in this school, but this is not okay. This is like seriously student endangerment. What are you doing? You're not staying here. Well, I'm not going anywhere with you. The janitor pulled you along behind him, but you jerked yourself free and backed up a couple of steps. He looked at you with a surprised and somewhat jittery look that didn't allow for objections. He took a step towards you and you put your hand out and said in loud voices to be heard, "Do not come any closer." The voices behind the door stopped. The janitor froze, his face twisted in an evil grin. Finally, he nodded. Okay, as you wish. He went on about his business, several times looking back at you with suspicion and some kind of resentment. That guy gives me goosebumps, and not the good kind. As soon as he had disappeared, you continued to eavesdrop. Wait, they heard me outside in the restricted wing, and they didn't come to see what had happened? Now I know why the neighborhoods are always empty. Because despite whatever noise they hear about going on the street, everybody just like, oh, no big deal. Let's just continue what we were doing. And another case. That was the strangest thing Sam did. Just during for an important match. There was a crowd shouting out the numbers of football players. People had put up posters here and there to support the team. Michael's team was up by several points, but it was only halftime and everything could still change. I didn't remember this scene at all. Go. Michael threw a pass to Sam. Sam jumped, caught the ball, and ran down the field. He was about to score when he was violently knocked off his feet. A lengthy ooh was heard from the crowd. Shit. His eyes always been that yellow? He fell, the ball popping up in the air into the hands of an opposing player. Sam grabbed the guy with the ball by the collar, hit him hard in the face, and threw him to the ground, climbing on top of him. Sam beat the poor fellow, kicked, shouted curses. The guy's face turned into a bloody mess. The game was stopped. Michael took off his helmet and ran over to Sam. What the hell's wrong with you? To calm Sam down, it took several guys twice his size. He tried to escape, shouting, threatening, and then just as quickly he had gone berserk. He went limp, calmed down, and suddenly began to cry. Forgive me, please. The next day, Sam behaved as if nothing had happened. When I raised the question of excluding him from the team, he got angry and sincerely didn't seem to understand why. Why do you think he cried? I don't know, I heard his stepfather beat him up. Who'd you hear that from? Sam himself. Have you ever seen Sam take drugs? Why do you ask? Answer the question. No, but I kind of knew that he did. And why's that? He once offered to sell me some. He said that he had stolen it from his stepfather. Surely he was dipping into it himself. The sheriff spoke more quietly, and you pressed close to the doorway to hear, but accidentally touched the door and pushed it close. Oh, you had to hide before the sheriff got out into the hall. Mr. Nixon showed up in about 10 minutes. Michael was not with him. Hello. The sheriff looked at you suspiciously, as if he saw right away that you needed something. Or did he notice that I was eavesdropping? Hi, Melody. Why are you in class? I would like to talk to you. About what? I was chased this morning. You told him about the chase and that you had identified it as Sam's stepfather's car. Noticing some doubt in the sheriff's eyes, you showed him the scrapes and scratches on your hands. In the end, he nodded. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. In the meantime, go to class. Okay, I will. Look what I found. Candy pulled out a photo album out of the closet. You stood in a semicircle looking at the photos. Cheerful, serene, so united it seemed. All this had happened in a dream and an impossibility that nevertheless came true. Looking at us, you never guessed what we went through. Derek grinned. What are you laughing at? Derek sat on the sofa and threw his legs on the table. Well, all you did was hide behind our backs. What are you talking about? Even when quite ordinary things were happening. Remember, for instance, when those guys approached us at night? I'd hardly managed to twist one guy's arm and you'd already ran into the house. So it was us who went through everything, not you, really. Are you listening to yourself? Fine, moving on. Derek waved his hand dismissively, and this gesture made Bobby even more angry. No. You finish what you started, by all means. I have nothing else to say. You've always been sensitive, that's all. Bobby got up and walked over to Derek. What exactly does sensitive mean? I think you understand. We all understand. Do we? Bobby turned to us, then anger started to burn in his eyes. The only thing I understand is that you're stuck in Saintfour, in this wilderness on the outskirts of the world. The only thing you're left with is remembering the past, and you've done that so often that the magic is fading for you. And your present is even more gray, so if you're trying to assert yourself by pointing out who I was back then. Derek jumped, enraged at his words. Boys, let's not fight. Why are you so angry, Bobby? Because you understood what I meant, right? And because you know it's true? Nonsense. Derek slowly approached Bobby while Bobby backed away, trying to keep his face. That's right, you're a coward, and you always have been. This word made Bobby turn pale first, then red with anger. Don't call me that. What should I call you then, if you're a coward? Bobby pounced on Derek. From surprise, Derek allowed himself to be knocked down. Stop it. Bobby got wild. It was obvious that he didn't know how to fight, but rage gave him both strength and skill. After a few moments, Derek took control of himself, managed to break free and rise to his feet. But instead of stopping the fight, he continued it. Stop it. But they weren't listening. Derek grabbed Bobby and pushed him away, tossing him to the floor. Well, you tired yet? Bobby grabbed a book off the shelf and threw it at Derek, hitting him right in the forehead. The boys were becoming more aggressive by the minute. You were afraid they would completely lose control. All the past grief, all the stressful memories, and the unexpected meeting had turned into a fight. We need to do something. How to stop them. The idea that popped into your head made you smile, although it was not a joke. You found a bucket outside and ran out into the street. You heard Candy's voice shouting, Hey, where are you going? You stopped near the lake and then slowly approached the water. The sand was wet from the recent rain and it was easy to slip. You stopped and picked up a full bucket of water. You felt the metal getting cold under your fingers. This should cool them down. The boys continued to fight. Without warning, you emptied the bucket of ice-cold water directly on them. What are you doing? Are you crazy? I hope that helped you come to your senses. Crazy. You pretended that you were going to pour the rest of the water out of the bucket. Derek raised his hands. That's it. We're calm, see? Peace. Oh my gosh, what's wrong? You cleaned the room, gathered up the scattered books, straightened the table, and arranged the chairs. What came over you? I don't even know. It's a strange feeling. It's like this place is playing on our emotions. Oh, Bobby, don't start. Okay, so there'll be no more fighting for today. Yes, I'm afraid of you now. Who knows what you would come up with next time? Everyone laughed. He wrapped in blankets to get warm, watching the candlelight play with the shadows. The atmosphere was suitable again for memories. You barely had time to open the door as the cat attacked your feet. Ah, you again. I didn't do anything to you. The cat continued to fight, but it didn't let her claws out. She seemed to want to put on a show of character while not doing any real damage. You want to go back to your owner? She immediately sat down, carefully looking at you. Let me take you back to Mrs. Hill, as promised. You bent down to take her in your arms, but she smacked you. Ouch. Come here. It took a long 20 minutes for you to catch the cat and stuff it into a bag. The cat continued to kick and hiss, and you barely managed to carry her to the antique shop. Should I be worried about sending her back there? The bell rang, and Mrs. Hill immediately came to meet you. Ah, Melody, hello. What brings you here? What do you have there? The bag in your hand seemed to come to life. It struggled, jerked, roared, and hissed. You are relieved to put it on the ground and release the cat. The animal jumped out of the bag, rushing somewhere deep into the room. Oh, you little prankster. Where did you find her? She was sitting outside the window of my room. Really? Mrs. Hill went to fetch the cat, took her in her arms, and sat in the chair. Lately, she often runs away from me, and returns less often. Since she came to you, it means that she felt you needed her. What? Oh, don't laugh at an old woman, it's true. It seems that, on the contrary, she didn't like me at all. The cat cast a haughty look at you. So what? Animal love and dedication has to be earned. Mrs. Hill paused, stroking the cat, then suddenly revived, jumped up without letting her out of her hands, and approached you. I think you should have a pet. I don't think my mom would agree with you. If she is against it, you know I will take it back, but you definitely need a pet. Your energy is low. I can feel it, and that means that evil spirits also feel it. A pet will guard you. No, really, I don't. Oh, no, it's very hard for me to take care of them all. This way I will know that I found one of them a good home. One of them? Yes, you've met the cat and the dog, and now you will get acquainted with the raven. Mrs. Hill disappeared in the doorway and returned with the raven on her shoulder. So choose. You looked at the animals, wanted to refuse, but didn't dare. Something connected you to them. The pets looked at you as if they were all really interested in your decision. Even the dog now didn't seem so hostile the previous time. I am not taking that dog. Maybe I can get along with them? Oh well. I choose. Hell no. Dog crazy as hell. Absolutely not. The cat is adorable, but we have a cat in Moonborn, and I'm down for the raven because I love ravens. It's so pretty. So I'm gonna go with the raven. I've never had a crow. It's not a crow. I would like to know what that's like. Raven, honey, not crow. And it's not just an ordinary raven. He's over 100 years old, and he will surely live for many more years. You can see the history of our city in his eyes. What will you call your new friend? Sweetheart. Axel! Only the cat from Moonborn has been an exception. The rest are going to be Axel. Now you will be Axel. How do you like your name? That's great. If you need any help with how to care for them, do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you. I wonder how my folks are going to react. You came out of Mrs. Hill's store with a strange feeling of security that was not there before. Whose room is this? Oh, it's a cute little room. Candy was drawing when you called. Candy, it's Melody. Oh, it's Candy's mom. I don't remember ever seeing this lady. Huh. Coming. She threw the pencils down, went downstairs, and took the phone up to her room. The wire stretched like a string. It seemed another centimeter and it would have snapped. Candy didn't want her mother to eavesdrop on your conversation. Well, with phones like that, if you have another phone on the landline, they probably could just go and pick that up and hear the conversation anyway. Oh man, phones back in the day, dude. Hey, hello? Is everything okay? Yes, I'm just calling to brag a little. Let's really not talk about Luke. I put an end to Michael. I got a pet. A pet? Wow. Don't tell me that it's that insane dog. No. Nope, it's a raven. Imagine, he's over 100 years old. I always dreamed of having something that cool. Though I can't really pet him properly. When I approach him, he just goes flying all around the room. I still have to establish a relationship with him. That's such a rad pet. You tried it for a long time before you hung up. After finishing the conversation, Candy wanted to continue drawing. What the? The pencil fell out of her hand. Well, with trembling hands, she took the drawings, madly flipping through them, not believing her eyes. Candy didn't remember drawing any of it, and yet they were there in front of her. These long little men with ugly arms and legs and elongated faces distorted in fear. Isn't that kind of like Sam's drawings? Just like Sam's. But how could she draw them and not notice? Who's here? Candy jumped when she heard a rustle in the corner. Oh God, I'm losing my mind. She grabbed the papers and went to tear them apart and throw them away, but something in the corner began to stir, making her freeze in horror. The light flickered. Candy recoiled from the table where the lamp was, but the light immediately returned to normal, lighting the wallpaper behind. The shout froze in her throat. She silently watched the wallpaper blistering more and more. Something seemed to be trying to break out. That's like Stranger Things. The wallpaper burst and a black liquid resembling resin oozed out. It smelled of wet earth and rot. The liquid kept on flowing out, covering the table, dripping onto the carpet, and then a pair of hands came out of the wall, long, thin, and seemingly broken. When the hole became wide enough, a head emerged with a giant gaping mouth, making terrible sounds that resembled laughter. Candy screamed, but the scream could not be heard. Black eyes looked straight through her own. With a sharp movement, the creature stretched out his arms and dragged her toward itself. Candy, did you take up the phone again? How many times have I told you not to do that? Candy's mom came into the room, but the room was empty and silent. On the floor, she found crumpled papers with drawings of strange figures. Candy has been snatched. Okay, that's a lot to digest. These several chapters. SOS is what Child is Saintfour. The short for is SOS. This is intense. This is intense. The imagery, like the detail of what they describe, like I think it has the best detail, like descriptions, like writing. I think like in all of the games, for real. And all of the stories. I like this one a lot, like, but it's intense. This one freaks me out, man. It's like it freaks you out, but you really want to know what happens. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh. Okay, I'm really excited about this, but I need to go ahead and post this. But I want to play some more, so I'm gonna do that right after I finish editing and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and show the video a little love, and I'll see you next time. Bye.